G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I just wanted to talk about the article I've just published on Ben Roberts-Smith and his defamation trial against Channel 9, which is coming to a conclusion. It should finish up in the coming few days. And Nine Entertainment, which is a parent company to the papers that are being sued, the Sydney Morning Herald, The Age, and formerly the Canberra Times, which is now owned by another company, and 3 journalists who are also being sued. Now, they've finalised their submissions, verbal submissions, closing arguments over last week, and they've accused Ben Roberts-Smith of giving knowingly false evidence, of conspiring with other witnesses, of threatening witnesses, and of destroying evidence, pretty much. And they're very serious allegations. That's during the course of the defamation trial. And one of their arguments is, during the closing submissions, even if the judge was to find that Ben Roberts-Smith had been defamed either by one of the allegations or all allegations made against him, numerous murders and bullying of other soldiers and assaulting his mistress, even if they were find, if the judge was to find that yes, he has been defamed because Nine couldn't prove, say, one of the murders or all the murders or all the allegations, that he shouldn't get any damages anyhow because of his conduct during the course of the defamation case, where he's threatened witnesses or allegedly threatened witnesses, given knowingly false evidence himself, he's colluded with witnesses, etc. So that changes the whole game plan for Ben Roberts-Smith, I think. Well, it doesn't change the game plan, but it undermines his whole game plan, because I have no doubt the original game plan was to sue for defamation, try and win. Sometimes you can win on technicalities or whatever. And if he wins, then he could use that to argue he shouldn't be charged for war crimes. Because if they can't, because a defamation case, you only have to prove on the basis of probabilities that it happened. You don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So if the Nine Entertainment can't prove on the basis of probabilities that he committed war crimes, well, the argument would be, well, the court wouldn't be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt because that's a higher level. And I think that was his game plan, but I think it's backfired because of all the evidence that's come out during the course of the proceedings and also his conduct during the proceedings. It's a red hot transcript for a Hollywood movie blockbuster. You know, you've got Ben Roberts-Smith using a private investigator to follow his mistress, who he claimed was lying about being pregnant and lying about having an abortion. These sorts of things you can't make up. Now, Ben Roberts-Smith, he was caught holding hands with his female lawyer 12-18 months ago. Now, the inference there is obviously he's having a relationship with her. Now, the barrister, Arthur Moses, went into court and denied they were having an affair or had had an affair. But Arthur Moses himself, at that time, when he's denying that there was an affair between Ben Roberts-Smith and his lawyer, he himself was having an affair and still having a relationship with Gladys Berejiklian, who he represented at ICAC. So this sort of stuff you can't make up, and it's red hot for a Hollywood blockbuster. And that's throwing a huge spanner in Ben Roberts-Smith's strategy. It's not really his strategy. You have to remember that Kerry Stokes and 7 West Media are the ones who have been financing it. They were caught out financing the defamation case, and also paying for Ben Roberts-Smith witnesses, for lawyers, which is an absolute scandal because there's no legal basis for 7 West Media to be paying any legal fees for Ben Roberts-Smith or his witnesses. And that's financial fraud by Kerry Stokes, Ryan Stokes, and the rest of the 7 West Media board. They got a lot of questions they need to answer to shareholders. Why are they using shareholders' money to pay for people to defend themselves for war crimes? Now, when it did hit the media and it was exposed, what they did, they transferred the financial liability from 7 West Media over to Kerry Stokes' private company, Australian Capital Equity. Now, there's some huge questions there to be answered. Once again, That's red hot for a transcript or for a script for a Hollywood movie. And as I say in the article I published 24th of July 2022 on my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, one of the elephants in the room that no one's really been speaking about is that Chris Masters, he's one of the journalists being sued. He's already written a book about this matter, about the Afghan war, and he touched on it in the book, the alleged rumours of war crimes, etc. And that's what ultimately led to him teaming up with another journalist, Nick McKenzie, for the Sydney Morning Herald, The Age, and investigating further and writing further stories which led to the defamation case. Now, I've been watching the trial the last few days, and Chris Masters is sitting up the back of the courtroom, and you can see him, and he's busily writing away with a pen and paper, obviously writing another book on this, his second book on the matter. And the point to that is the whole trial is about trying to cover up the alleged war crimes and also trying to avoid criminal charges for the alleged war crimes. But all it's done is shine another huge light on it. And even if they do get a dodgy judgment in their favour, Chris Masters will be writing another book and people will be able to read about it there. And with everything that's going on and everything that's been exposed during the course of the trial, another example is Ben Roberts-Smith's wife was originally going to be a witness for him. A few months beforehand, before the trial started, she changed camps and she was now a witness for Nine Entertainment. Those sorts of things you just can't make up, and that is an unbelievable script for a movie. It's going to be at least one movie, maybe multiple movies, and it's totally undermined this strategy of Kerry Stokes. There's a guy called Bruce McWilliam. He's a henchman that Kerry Stokes and Ryan Stokes use to do their dirty work. He's worth 100, 200 million himself, and I don't think he cares about, he hasn't got any skin in the game for this matter. He's due to retire himself. He probably would have retired, except for this court case has been dragging on for a few years. He's a go-to man. He knows a number of the judges, especially in the New South Wales Supreme Court. He can get matters stitched up. He's had matters stitched up against me. I should make a declaration. I have been involved in legal proceedings. Kerry Stokes has been suing me, multiple slap lawsuits since 2014. The last slap lawsuit seems to be finalised a few months ago, although he could hit me with more. That's to try and silence me, stop writing about his corrupt and criminal conduct in his business dealings, etc. So I'm well positioned to know and understand how Kerry Stokes and his henchman Bruce McWilliam operate. And this time they failed and failed badly. And what they've done is also help put the spotlight back on them and how they're operating and why are they paying the legal fees of Ben Roberts-Smith and why are they paying the legal fees of alleged war criminals, other former soldiers. You know, that's what they did against me. They paid for a number of people to sue me. And you'll see in the article I've published, I've just done a little example, an affidavit from Justine Munsey from 2014, where she was suing me. Kerry Stokes was suing me. Justine Munsey was suing me. And she writes in the first 3 paragraphs of the affidavit, I'm writing this on behalf of Kerry Stokes. And I've spoken to numerous executives at Channel 7. Well, she was suing me as well. In a normal legal proceedings, lawyers are allowed to write affidavits for their clients. They shouldn't, but they are. But in this matter, she was actually suing me as well. She should have been nowhere near Kerry Stokes and other executives at Channel 7 when she was writing an affidavit, because it shows collusion. And I've raised it in court time and time again. And the judges will sit there like stunned mullets and say nothing because it's just so openly and blatantly corrupt. And the point is this, Justine Munsey has also been operating in this matter as a lawyer, the Ben Roberts-Smith matter, representing at least one of the witnesses on behalf of Ben Roberts-Smith. And her name comes up in a couple of places in other issues. And here she is being exposed in my matter, or my matter from 2014, which wasn't finalised until 2018, acting in a dodgy manner. So you've got all these same players committing the similar sort of crimes or alleged crimes. And that's why it's going to backfire badly for Kerry Stokes, Ryan Stokes, Bruce McWilliam, Ben Roberts-Smith, and all the others involved too in the alleged conspiracy to cover this up. Not just the war crimes, but the defamation matter. You know, threatening witnesses. At one stage, Ben Roberts-Smith had a private investigator make a false complaint to the federal police that one of the witnesses against him, or he assumed it was going to be one of the witnesses against him, had weapons at home. So the federal police raided his house and they found nothing because it was a stitch-up. There was a false complaint to the police. Someone has to be charged with that too. All these things make for one of the reddest hot movie scripts you'll ever want to see. And that's what's going to come out. And so forget about what happens in court. That's just going to be a minor sideshow. Someone's going to be paid millions of dollars to play Ben Roberts-Smith and Kerry Stokes and all other players. And so they think, oh yeah, we're smart, we're using the war of law, we're going to silence everyone and we'll sweep this under the carpet like think they've done with me. They've spent years, probably 5-10 million, trying to silence me. Kerry Stokes and 7 West Media have. Hasn't worked. You think they would have learnt their lesson. Make sure you share this video on Twitter and Facebook, etc. And other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.